Thank you all so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and to tell you about Library Giving Day, which is it's similar to Giving Tuesday, and I'm going to go through that in a minute. I'm going to tell you a little bit very briefly about my company, but I'm also going to tell you that everything that I'm telling you and sharing with you today is free. And if right now, as we're going through this webinar, you want to go to librarygivingday.org and look at the free website and look at the free emails and look at all the free things that you can download to have your own campaign, that is going to be kind of your one-stop shop. But I'm just going to walk you through everything in 12 quick slides, and then we can, if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. So I'm going to turn off my camera, I'm going to share my screen, and off we go. Okay, and Amanda, let me just check with you really quickly. Can you see my presentation screen?
Sure can, looks great.
Great, okay, good, thanks so much. Okay, so as I said, thank you all for having me today. I am Christina McPhillips, I'm from Carl Bloom Associates. I'm also a member of the Library Giving Day Planning Committee and the Planning Committee for the International Public Library Fundraising Conference. I'm happy to talk more about that afterwards, but I'll tell you about Library Giving Day. So, and very quickly, just a quick note about Carl Bloom Associates. We are a full service fundraising agency, and we do run fundraising campaigns for public libraries and for friends and foundations all over the country. We help those organizations with their direct mail annual appeals. So if you do like a year-end mailing to donors or cardholders, email campaigns, newsletters, and things like that. As a side project, we are the co-founders and creators of Library Giving Day and of the International Public Library Fundraising Conference, which is a conference exclusively about fundraising for public library professionals. We've worked with libraries for a long time, and we realized that there was not a lot of fundraising resources for those libraries, for foundations, for friends. And so it really is a coming together of networking, educational sessions, things like that. It's held every year. Of course, in 2020 it was virtual, but usually it is in one city. And we have a couple hundred librarians and fundraising professionals from the library world that attend with the goal of raising more money for their own organizations. So in this webinar about Library Giving Day, I'm going to cover many topics. First, why are we here today? What's the backstory? Second, for those of you that are new to Library Giving Day, or maybe even those of you that have participated or heard of Library Giving Day before, and you want a refresher, we'll talk about what Library Giving Day is. And then we'll talk about the success of Library Giving Day and how it's grown over the years. And finally, I'll dive into how you can really make it your spring 2021 fundraising event and how you can use these free resources I've talked about to make a direct mail letter, to make some emails to fundraise for yourself, to make a social media campaign. It's all on librarygivingday.org. It's all free for you to download. Backstory now, what is Library Giving Day? So if anyone has heard of this before, sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I think that it's new to most people. So in the summer of 2018, we were, a bunch of library fundraising professionals were at the second annual International Public Library Fundraising Conference, which was in Denver. And John Award, who is the CEO of the Seattle Public Library Foundation, asked the conference attendees if they would like a library-specific day of giving, similar to Giving Tuesday. Very similar to Giving Tuesday was what we thought we could probably do. And the answer from the audience was a resounding yes, that they did want their own day of giving to public libraries. So in the following months, the Seattle Public Library Foundation and our team at Carl Bloom Associates partnered to get Library Giving Day up and running. And by January 2019, we announced that Library Giving Day was official with the launch of the website, which I've directed you to. And that website has all kinds of free materials. And specifically a toolkit, which is about an 11-page document that really tells you how to do everything. So all of these materials were launched in January 2019. We had a series of webinars. that shared, just like this, how libraries could use these free resources to have their own day of giving. So of course there's a logo, there's emails, everything that you could possibly want to run your own campaign. After January 2019, we proceeded to do how-to emails, sending them out to libraries, friends, and foundations. We did tips and tricks, reminders, announcements, things like that. The first ever Library Giving Day was held in April 2019, and we had nearly 200 libraries join the movement, as we called it. And by 2020, we had nearly 300 libraries participate in Library Giving Day, and that was in April 2020. And that was during COVID, and it was extremely successful. We were nervous. Of course, no one in the world knew what was going to be happening at that time, but it was a slam dunk. Every library that participated saw extreme success. So I'll share those results with you in a minute. Let's see, let's go on to those results. So when it came to fundraising revenue, we could clearly see from the results that were sent to us from libraries that the 2020 campaign, which was about 1 month after COVID-19 really kind of settled in, had significantly more results, better results than what we saw in our first year of Library Giving Day, which was 2019. We saw a 50% increase in giving in 2020 over the previous year. And we saw that of the libraries that participated, the nearly 300, $1 million was raised. And that's just from the libraries that actually shared their results. We did have a big chunk of libraries that never sent in their results. So the things that these libraries did to have successful campaigns, they used the free emails from the website, they used the logos that are provided for free, and they downloaded the toolkit, all of it on librarygivingday.org. So if you are on the site right now, that's campaign resources is where you really want to go to take advantage of this. One other result that I want to share with you, and I hope in sharing these results that if you have other team members that you need to take this information back to kind of get their buy-in, or other stakeholders, that these results will show those folks that it's worthwhile to run some kind of campaign. But as I said, there was significant growth in 2020, and we really did see Library Giving Day gaining traction. We saw 90% more donations in 2020 than in 2019. So donors and communities really responded well to Library Giving Day messaging. And it's for all of these reasons that, and the strong results that we see from the 2 years of campaigns, that we recommend that Library Giving Day be an important fundraising day for your organization. This year in 2021, it is April 7th. April 7th is Library Giving Day. And I'm going to talk about how you want to prepare the campaign in advance using the free resources. So you can just see 2 quick screenshots, and you'll also find these on the website. But on the left side, there is a sample of the complete 2020 Library Giving Day toolkit. It was April 23rd, 2020. This year, April 7th, as I mentioned. The toolkit has so many great things. It's got a planning timeline. It has a branding overview. It has different strategies for engaging your own teams, ways to strategize and ways to build a campaign in advance. And some of this may sound complicated if you haven't fundraised before. You could do as little as sending out 1 email to donors or cardholders or anyone in the community, and just telling them about Library Giving Day. So the size of your campaign is really your own. I also want to just point your eyes to the right side of the screen here. This is one of the emails that you're able to download. You can adjust it if you have a graphic designer. You can swap out the photo if you like. Perhaps you feel that this photo is not as appropriate for your organization, or you want to show a different program or service that you offer. That's completely fine. These resources are just here for you to use as you like. So a little bit more about recommendations that I have for running a successful campaign. The first step, as I said before, is visit librarygivingday.org. And then number two, I would read through the toolkit from start to finish, and I would maybe do that within the next couple of weeks. Don't wait until March. You really want to kind of start preparing things now. Once you read it, maybe read it again a few weeks later as you conceptualize what you think you can do. Perhaps it's just one email, or perhaps it's a Facebook post, or perhaps you feel comfortable sending out a few emails or including some Library Giving Day information in a newsletter that you regularly send. Then I would ask any coworkers or key stakeholders that you need permission or that you work with to also read the toolkit so they can get comfortable conceptualizing how this would work. And then number three, I would think about possibly a Library Giving Day direct mail campaign to any donors or card holders you have. I understand you may not be able to send anything to card holders. So of course, if that doesn't work for you, that's fine. And then you want to think about emailing any donors or card holders or email addresses you have during Library Giving Day. That's an excellent way to communicate with them. If you have the ability to accept donations online, that is such a wonderful way to receive donations for Library Giving Day. It is a very, Library Giving Day does yield a lot of online donations. So let me know if you have any problems with that. But if you can receive gifts online, you'll probably see the majority of your gifts coming in on your website. Let's see, and then consider your social media presence for Library Giving Day. This is such a really great free tool. You know, some Facebook posts, there are free Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram posts within the toolkit. Just take them and change them to be appropriate for your organization, and then post in the days leading up to Library Giving Day. So I would recommend starting to get people excited in mid-March with a few posts, late March, early April with a few more posts directing people to make a donation and support your library. And then my sixth and final tip is to think outside of the box to engage your community. Do you have a contact at a local newspaper or the local news station who would be willing to do a story for you? You can ask them to write a story about the work you're doing in the community, but of course you would need to possibly speak to them early because it can take a few months to get that story in the works. But it's a great grassroots strategy to just engage with the people in your community that may be able to help you get the word out. And one of the things I will say is if Connecticut overall does participate if your library and a number of other libraries and foundations and friends groups do participate, you really will see the momentum for the campaign growing over the years. And then people will start to recognize the brand of Library Giving Day, just like they do with Giving Tuesday. 10 years ago, Giving Tuesday really wasn't anything. And now Giving Tuesday is synonymous with, it goes Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Giving Tuesday, Cyber Monday, those kinds of things. So this is something that is growing and it's available for you to take advantage of, and it will just continue to grow year over year. Okay, so in summary, I want to say next steps are, of course, visit librarygivingday.com, read the toolkit and make a plan for what's appropriate for you. Perhaps it's just a few Facebook posts, perhaps it's 1 or 2 emails, perhaps it's those and a letter to some special people to get a donation through the mail. If you have any questions, you can email me at Christina@carlbloom.com for help with direct mail or email strategies. And then I would really think about getting your social media game ready. I bet you all have a lot of followers on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram. Use the free logos, download them, put them in your various posts in March and April. You'll see some good traction that way. You could ask people why they love their library, tell us why you do, and send us a story. And don't forget, Library Giving Day is April 7th if you want to make a gift. And then, of course, engage your grassroots resources, which are any local newspapers or any PR folks that you know. That's a really great way to get the word out too. So that is it. Amanda, would you like me to answer a few questions?
That would be wonderful if our folks have questions.
Certainly. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment. Come on back. Anyone have any questions?
Please feel free to unmute yourself and you can just go ahead and ask.
I also want to say, if it makes more sense to go peruse the librarygivingday.org website, and if it makes more sense to read through the toolkit and then email me with questions, I'd be really happy to do that. That's totally fine. And I hope I made it definitely clear that Library Giving Day is for you, however you want to engage with it, whatever size campaign or just an email or Facebook post. It's all for you, whatever you like.
I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.
Sure.
Maybe folks are camera shy and don't want to ask if you're recorded. So I'm going to stop the recording, and then please think about the questions you have. This is your time to get Christina and her brain.
Hey, this is Katie.